A new study shows millennials in Vancouver are staying home as they enter their late 20s. And one big reason dominates: the affordability of housing. The Van City poll shows nearly 60% of people asked say they can't afford to rent in today's market. And while they can't rent, most are saving to buy their own place. And some are putting away a lot of money to try to get their own home. 1 in 3 is saving more than half of their earnings. But while the price might be right to stay at home, other costs are also high. More than a quarter say they've delayed a relationship or marriage because of their life situation. For more on our formerly red-hot housing market and when to get in and perhaps how to stay is Mark Ting, Senior Financial Advisor with Hollis Wealth. Mark, let's start off first with this Van City study, talking about we've got millennials who are, many of them more, staying at home in order to save for their own home. Are you surprised by that?
No, it's really what you got to do nowadays. I mean, it's an expensive place to get out there. Cost of housing is going up. So if you do stay home, it's one way to save. Hopefully you're socking away. I actually tell a lot of my older clients who have millennials staying at their house to actually charge their kids rent. Take that rent, sock it away for them so that actually the parents are doing the savings, because the millennials, who knows what they have. A new iPhone comes out, they might be wanting to buy that. So it's a good way sort of just to keep that money on the side.
Okay, so rent's become an investment. Interesting.
Yes.
No, this comes on the same week as we've got this study from Swiss Bank UBS, which talks about Vancouver as one of the, or it's deemed it, one of the riskiest housing bubbles it can find. What do you make of that?
Well, a couple things. So it was named along with 5 other cities as in the riskiest and bubble-ish type situation. So the first thing is it can stay there for a long time. A lot of people will read these reports and think that a crash is imminent. It's not the case. I've been reading about bubble crashes in the Lower Mainland for years. So that's number one. Number two, from an investment perspective, I went to a conference recently and they basically said, Vancouver, for an investor, does not work. You cannot buy a house in Vancouver and rent it out for, buy for $2 million, rent it out for $3,000. The math does not work. So from an investment perspective, Vancouver really does seem expensive. Now, their stance was apartments, that's where it's at. For the future, everybody else, like young families in the future, they're going to be living in condos and townhouses. It's just going to dominate it. So I fully expect my own kids, my grandkids, they're probably not going to live in a house. They're probably not going to have space between another dwelling, but that's normal. That's exactly what it's like in Europe. That's exactly what it's like in Asia. Any major city, people live this way. It's all about density.
Now, we know we've seen a slowdown on the market here, the impact of foreign buyers tax, and perhaps a natural slowdown. What's your recommendation for people who still are trying to get into the market?
So no need to rush, because right now we got this 15%. We're still trying to figure out how it's going to play out. So again, according to this conference I went to, a lot of the local experts were thinking that it'll probably take about a year and a half to for people to adapt to it, and then it'll sort of start on another slow recovery. So my advice is take your time. Let's see how this plays out. And then the other side is all look at the cash flow. Like if you can afford a house and it makes sense and you're not overstretching yourself, you're not eating crackers and cheese and peanut butter every meal.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, for some students that's okay,
That's
but
true.
if you got a family and you're trying to raise them, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't spread yourself too thin.
For those who are in and have a home, is it time to sell? What should they do? Should the seller sell? Should the seller stay?
Again, all depends on who you are. So the group that I really think should be considering selling, the group that I've been telling that you should really be considering selling, is the retirees that have won the lottery. They bought their house a long time ago. It's worth a lot, and they're really depending on this money for their retirement. We don't know if it's going to bubble, is going to burst. I don't think it's going to be a massive burst, but why take the risk? If you've sort of won that lottery ticket, now, or hopefully a while ago, you took that advice and you cashed out and you sort of took it slow, and now you got the money that's banked that you can live off for the rest of your life.
Mark Ting, we always appreciate your insight. Thanks very much.
Thank you.